Hi, I'm Jeff Moriarty, and this is uBookquitous. Our question today, will the wonderful Kindle remain the dominant book reader?
And I'm Terra. Now, Jeff, I know you've got a deep technical background, and you've been thinking lots about these interaction layers, if you will, with ebooks and what we're missing today. So, what are we missing?
We're seeing a maturation in the format standards and the devices themselves, and authors are getting more into the content. What we're missing are layers on top of that. So the first one is a user interface layer that's more dynamic than just really spinning pages back and forth.
Because we have a little bit of that right now. We have some interface. I can change font, I can change styles, I can change some of the tones, but you're talking a deeper layer than that.
Yeah, a real different way of interacting with the book itself. So comic books are a really good example of this. Artists, if you look at a comic book, don't just have all the panels the same size. They'll use the action of characters inside them to draw the eye and move around and make things explode, sometimes between panels.
Okay.
And the interface on the Kindle really doesn't give content creators, artists, that ability to bring that kind of dynamic interaction with the medium onto the reader.
Because it's a fixed format, it's a rectangle of plastic that's this big, and really the only action you have is swiping.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
No way to go up, no way to move and zoom, and those things don't really exist.
Yeah. Or even if you wanted to put layers inside the comic book itself. So let's say you saw a frame and a generic superhero with spider powers swung into the frame and landed, and then something else happened, and then the speech bubble, showed up. So you are actually seeing almost the comic building itself out. None of that is there.
Now, does that happen, because we called this a user layer before, so you, the user, that can control this, or is that done at the publisher and perhaps creator level?
Well, it's a little bit of both. So the author, the publisher, creator can put that kind of capability in, but then the user has the ability to interact with the book in different ways.
And the choice to interact with that book.
Exactly.
In other ways. Okay.
They can just swipe like a regular comic, or they could look at it in more depth, or perhaps if they were visually impaired, they could have the audio read to them, the text read to them, and so on. So there's different ways of interacting based on that complexity that we see maturing up through the stack.
Okay. And I know you've also talked before about a user customization layer. Are we blurring these lines together, or is it something totally different?
Well, to me they're very different. User interface is how I'm going to take that content and interact with it in different ways. User customization says, you know what, I have this travel guide, and I'm not going to any of these places. I only want certain chapters. I want to index certain parts of the book so I can reference them in the case of a textbook much more readily. I want to highlight, I want to mark all the things you can do with a paper book, but really using the full capability of the device to turn it into something that is unique for me and the way I learn, process information, things like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because in most textbooks, for example, last time I was in school, you never actually went through the entire textbooks. You only went through maybe 4 or 5 different chapters, and there was a bunch that you didn't actually get to. And you brought up travel guide, which is a great example. If you're going to Europe, you're probably not going to Europe, you're just going to go to Nice. So getting a book just about that will be a much better experience for you, because you didn't have to have everything. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And
paper books have always, I mean, you could get out the scissors and cut something up and remake it, but it's kludgy.
Right.
And ebook readers have been duplicating paper books up until now. And authors are starting to realize, wow, I can take all this different capability from GPS to editing and slicing and copy pasting to go off in a completely different direction.
Taking all the aspects of digital and really making a digital book that's more than just something you swipe your hands back across and make it like a paper
Exactly.
book. Yeah. And that is one vision of the future. For more insight and education to help you thrive and survive as a digital author, please visit epublishunum.com. For Jeff Moriarty, I'm Terra. Thanks for watching.